The two great commandments summarize the entire moral law. The first commandment is to love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. The second commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. These commandments form the foundation of Christian morality. Loving God involves acknowledging His supreme authority and obeying His will. Expressing gratitude for His blessings is a key aspect of loving God. Loving your neighbor means treating others with respect, compassion, and fairness. Recognizing the inherent dignity of all people as children of God is central to loving your neighbor. The first commandment states, "I am the Lord your God. You shall not have strange gods before me." This commandment prohibits idolatry, which is the worship of idols or false gods. Superstition, another prohibited practice, involves irrational beliefs or rituals. The first commandment emphasizes the exclusive worship of the one true God, rejecting any other form of worship. The first commandment calls for the virtue of religion, which includes adoration, prayer, and sacrifice offered to God alone. This commandment rejects practices such as divination, magic, and consulting mediums. These practices attribute power to created things rather than to God. Honoring the saints is distinct from idolatry. Catholics do not worship saints as gods. Saints are venerated as holy individuals who lived exemplary lives. Saints intercede for us before God. The lives of saints serve as models of Christian virtue. Relics and images serve as reminders of saints and God. These items are not objects of worship themselves. Relics and images function as aids to devotion. They help focus minds and hearts on the divine. The second commandment prohibits the misuse of God's name. Misuse includes blasphemy, which is speaking irreverently about God. Perjury, or making false oaths in God's name, is also forbidden. Irreverent speech, lacking respect for God, violates the second commandment. The second commandment emphasizes reverence and respect for God's name. This commandment also calls for respect for sacred things and persons. Keeping oaths and vows made in God's name is an important aspect of this commandment. The third commandment mandates setting aside the Sabbath day for rest and worship. Observance primarily involves attending Mass and abstaining from unnecessary work. The Sabbath is a day to honor God through prayer and reflection. The third commandment emphasizes the importance of spiritual renewal and communal worship. This commandment provides an opportunity to strengthen the relationship with God. It also strengthens the relationship with the Christian community. The fourth commandment, "Honor your father and your mother," is a divine instruction. This commandment calls for respect towards parents. It also entails obedience to parents. Furthermore, the commandment emphasizes the importance of caring for parents. The fourth commandment extends to other lawful authorities. The fourth commandment extends to duties within the family, the state, and the church. This commandment promotes social harmony by emphasizing respect for legitimate authority. Upholding legitimate authority contributes to the common good. The fifth commandment, "You shall not kill," prohibits the taking of innocent human life. The fifth commandment encompasses the prohibition of abortion. Euthanasia, the act of intentionally ending a life to relieve pain and suffering, is also forbidden. Unjust war, involving unwarranted aggression and violence, violates the fifth commandment. The fifth commandment emphasizes respect for one's own life and health. This commandment also requires respect for the lives and health of others. The fifth commandment promotes peace and reconciliation. It also advocates for the protection of human dignity. The sixth commandment, "You shall not commit adultery," prohibits all forms of sexual immorality outside of marriage. This commandment extends beyond physical acts to include lustful thoughts and desires. The sixth commandment emphasizes the sanctity and fidelity within the bond of marriage. The sixth commandment emphasizes chastity, purity, and respect for the sanctity of marriage. It highlights the importance of sexual integrity within God's design for human love and procreation. This commandment promotes responsible and respectful attitudes towards sexuality. The seventh commandment, "You shall not steal," prohibits unjustly taking or keeping what belongs to another. The commandment forbids the unjust acquisition of possessions belonging to others. Damaging another's property is also forbidden by the seventh commandment. The seventh commandment mandates respect for private property. Justice in economic affairs is a requirement of the seventh commandment. Restitution is required for wrongs committed against another's possessions. The eighth commandment forbids bearing false witness against one's neighbor. This commandment prohibits lying, perjury, and slander. The eighth commandment protects against any form of deceit that harms another's reputation. The eighth commandment emphasizes truthfulness, honesty, and respect in interpersonal interactions. This commandment fosters trust as a cornerstone of healthy human relationships. Integrity, promoted by this commandment, is essential for maintaining a good reputation. Upholding the eighth commandment cultivates a culture of reliability and ethical conduct. The ninth commandment, "You shall not covet your neighbor's wife," prohibits lustful thoughts and desires. This commandment addresses the internal struggle against inappropriate desires toward another person's spouse. The ninth commandment focuses on the importance of controlling one's thoughts and maintaining purity of heart. The ninth commandment addresses the root of adultery in the heart, emphasizing purity of thought and intention. This commandment complements the sixth commandment by focusing on interior chastity. It calls for an inner commitment to moral integrity, extending beyond outward actions. The 10th commandment forbids envy and greed. Envy and greed are defined as disordered desires for the possessions of others. The 10th commandment addresses the internal state of wanting what others possess. The 10th commandment addresses the root of theft and injustice within the human heart. This commandment calls for detachment from material possessions. The 10th commandment promotes contentment and generosity. The commandments of the Church are precepts guiding Catholics in fulfilling their religious obligations. These obligations include attending Mass on Sundays and holy days, receiving Holy Communion regularly, and supporting the Church's mission. These commandments are designed to help Catholics grow in holiness and live out their faith more fully.